everyone, welcome back to Daily Freddo. Yes, you are watching yet another Snow White video. Every time I do these types of videos, I feel like I have to explain myself. Why me, a person from Europe, even bother commenting or following the news about some Hollywood movie? Well guys, like I said before, it affects us here too. Snow White, in Polish Królewna Śnieżka, in Greek Hionati, is our classic fairy tale too. And like everyone over in the US, we are getting fed up with Disney's woke insanity. So here I am adding my 3 cents to the outrage, or even the 3 whole euros.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
So let's start with the big news. As the son of the director of the classic Snow White spoke out, my dad and Walt Disney would be turning in their graves over woke Snow White remake. Son of original film's director accuses Disney studio bosses of insulting the 1937 classic and destroying his father's creation. As you know, Rachel Zegler insulted the classic Snow White movie on several occasions in her interviews, calling it outdated when it comes to portraying women. According to her, the women in those movies wanted to be saved, and the new, modern version will have the Snow White focus on becoming the best leader. I'm sure you've seen by now all those interviews.
Reality is that the cartoon was made 85 years ago, and therefore it's extremely dated when it comes to the ideas of women being in roles of power and what a woman is fit for in the world. And so when we came to reimagining the actual role of Snow White, it became about the fairest of them all, meaning who is the most just and who can become a fantastic leader. And the reality is, Snow White has to learn a lot of lessons about coming into her own power before she can come into power over a kingdom.
Now I want to point something out here. In the classic tale, Evil Queen was the most beautiful woman until Snow White came about. So the queen became second. So in this case, are we suggesting that the Evil Queen is second most just person in the whole world and the best leader? How does this even make sense? Anyway, you can understand why someone who was part of the creative team of the classic Snow White would be offended after Rachel's remarks, given her sarcastic tone here. The article continues. Mr. Han, 91, who worked as a designer for Disney in the 1990s, told The Telegraph such views misunderstand the film. He said a lot of younger people have never seen the original and don't know what they're talking about. He said, I mean, it's a whole different concept and I just totally disagree with it. And I know my dad and Walt would also very much disagree with it. I mean, can you blame the guy for being annoyed? Classic Disney cartoons, whether you like them or not, are truly iconic. The stories, the characters, the music, it all had a reason for being done the way it was. Mr. Han also said about Disney. They changed the stories, they changed the thought process of the characters, they just aren't the original stories anymore. They're making up new woke things and I'm just not into any of that. I find it quite frankly a bit insulting that they may have done with some of these classic films. There is no respect for what Disney did and what my dad did. I think Walt and he would be turning in their graves. Yep, everyone seems to be tired of woke shit. Especially the audiences all over the world who would love to go to the cinema to see a good movie and the choices are just limited. And yes, Disney is to blame, but shouldn't they at least media train their actors before they go and crap all over their work from 80, 90 years ago? Because things came out. Have a look.
I get stopped for photos every time I'm online for the Snow White ride, and it is I have to pretend like, oh God, well, crazy that we're in front of this.
Wait, how long?
It's like I'm standing there waiting for the photo op, being like,
well, you kind of are, you know?
No, I guess
it's like
so.
if Harrison Ford.
I'm Snow White!
Is that your favorite ride? I mean, that's a weird thing that you are Snow White now.
I mean,
Wow.
It's one of the original. I'm a really big Disney fan. I grew up at the Disney parks. My parents took me every summer.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's like, it's a part of my upbringing. It's my favorite thing, so it's just one of those things that
Yeah,
comes
don't
with the
tell them
territory.
if you love it. Don't let them scare you.
I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again. Like, I'm being so serious. I watched it once and then I went on the ride in Disney World, which was called Snow White's Scary Adventures. Doesn't sound like something a little kid would like. Was terrified of it. Never revisited Snow White again.
I'm a narcissist.
I watched it for the first time in probably 16, 17 years when I was doing this film.
I mean, this girl.
Like, I'm being so...
Yes, so there were a lot of annoyed people. I mean, a lot. Here are some of the comments about her attitude. I can't tell if she's actually like this or it's a publicity stunt. I'm so confused. Another one, I mean, that's backpedaling for you. And another one, is there even Snow White's Scary Adventure on Disneyland though? I'm curious. And an answer says, that ride was in most of the Disney parks, but have all been closed long ago, and new one opened as Snow White's Enchanted Wish. So this last comment made me think, maybe Rachel meant that as a kid she went on a scary Snow White ride and she never went on it again. It then closed and a new ride opened and she spent all her time there. I mean, I'm speculating here, so correct me if I'm wrong. Either way, the damage was done. People didn't like those two completely different takes on her experience with Snow White. The huge backlash was so intense, someone even did this skit about Rachel's PR agent trying to save the situation.
Okay, Rachel, they're gonna ask you a simple question. Just say you want to bring a modern twist to a classic tale, okay?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937. He's not going to be safe with a prince.
All right, Rachel, they're gonna ask you for a clarification about what you just said. Talk about how you like the original, you just think it needs a modern update, okay?
What did you mean by that?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Can you just hype up your co-stars?
Sure, a lot of people will assume it's a love story just because, like, we cast a guy in the movie.
Right.
Andrew Burnap, great dude.
Yeah.
Good.
All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
Let me tell you, girl, you my little boo thing, so I'll give a hoot what you do say.
Comments on the video say, I love Snow White. I was so excited they cast her because of West Side Story. Now I'm terrified and sort of heartbroken. Another one, I think my favorite thing about the second clip is when she says, it's Hollywood, baby. Like, dude, this is your second movie, what? And another one, seriously, all the talented creative behind this movie have got to be drinking this week. But the real PR team of Rachel Zegler came up with the oldest trick in the book and began Operation Damage Control. And yet again, people saw right through it.
I never want it to come off as me being ungrateful for the opportunities I have. When I tell you that it's hard, I just mean to be inside my brain. And I'm there 24/7, I can't get out of it.
As a huge Disney fan like all of you, this is the biggest dream come true I could possibly imagine for myself. Thank you all for making it possible and being excited.
This is your second film.
I know.
How do you describe that experience?
Oh, it's so weird and like not okay. No pun intended, lightning struck twice for me. I feel like the luckiest girl.
It is just ridiculous. I can't believe this is my life. I can't every day.
17 years old, a junior in high school. You send in this casting tape, and then you're cast as Maria.
I got it. I'm like looking around and there's this huge poster of my face and I'm like, who is that?
Who the f is that guy?
Still can't process any of it.
I am the most grateful person alive, but I'm also keeping it real.
I'm going to give you my opinion about this, but let's see the comments first. Someone says, her PR machine, wow. And another one, bro, the music. I know, the music, right? Just to try and wake some feelings. Another comment, this isn't a recent apology, it is from a while ago. And someone answered, the fact that this has happened more than once is very telling. Okay, so I really hate those things. This video does no favor to the actress whatsoever. In fact, it makes the whole situation look even worse, and the team behind it looks like a bunch of clueless people, inexperienced people who never even heard of PR. Really? Sad music? Old crying video? That wasn't even an apology video, by the way. She was just documenting being away from home and missing her family. Then they add photo montage, video montage. What are we, in 2002? What did they expect it will do? I mean, for God's sake, she spoke about her co-star like he didn't matter at all. Like he was a spare part in the movie. So I don't blame people for being outraged. First of all, stories like the classic Snow White are the stories we need today. We need someone to show us that there is love and kindness in the world. That no matter how tough things get, we don't need to turn into bad guys. That the world is a scary place, but you can navigate it without losing your dignity and values. But Disney's mission is to make everything as woke as possible. Remake after remake. Because the same thing happened with The Little Mermaid, if you remember. Disney destroys story after story, character after character. Literally anyone who accepts the main role in their movies now will receive some sort of backlash because people are pissed off for being treated like they're stupid. To be fair, Halle Bailey, as much backlash as she received, in her interviews was perfectly nice, spoke very kindly about the classic cartoon and paid respects to the original creators. Rachel, unfortunately, did it the other way around. People all over the world feel offended by Rachel's words. We get Greek articles, for example, like this. Disney, η Rachel Zegler είναι η πιο αντιπαθητική χιονάτη όλων των εποχών.
Is that like a personal attack or something?
Anyway, now it is being demanded of Disney to cancel the movie or to fire Rachel Zegler. And as we saw previously with Sonic the Hedgehog, audiences can have a huge impact on how the movie's production will actually go and on film's alterations. So I am curious what will happen in the case of Snow White. I say replace her with Sonic. But as usual, I want to hear what you guys think, so please let me know in the comments. Here are some more videos from me you can watch, and of course subscribe to my channel, turn on the notifications to never miss another Daily Freddo episode. And for even more content and daily updates, follow me on Instagram at Daily Freddo. That's all for today, have a good one.